بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين صلى الله وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned taqwa in the Qur'an in many verses, in many surahs. Actually, it's been mentioned in 258 verses in the Qur'an. So Allah has repeated this word taqwa many times in different forms. And in a couple of verses, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَلَقَدْ وَصَّيْنَا الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ وَإِيَّاكُمْ أَنِ اتَّقُوا اللَّهَ. So we have given the advice, wasiyah, although the translation here is about a command, but I want to focus on the word itself and the use of the word, wassayna. And we know the wasiyah, the Prophet's wasiyah and your dad's wasiyah, your mom's wasiyah, which is their will. Last will. So Allah Azza wa Jal is giving us the advice here to practice taqwa, as He has given this advice and command to the previous nations before us. Anittaqullah. So practice taqwa. As well, we know the very famous ayah, Inna akramakum indallahi atqakum, the beginning of it in Surah Al-Hujurat, Ya ayyuhan nasu inna khalaqnakum min dhakarin wa untha وَجَعَلْنَاكُمْ شُعُوبًا وَقَبَائِلَ لِتَعَارَفُوا إِنَّ أَكْرَمَكُمْ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ أَتْقَاكُمْ. So the end of this ayah, verily the most honorable of you before Allah Azza wa Jal is the one who has taqwa. أَتْقَاكُمْ, the best in taqwa. And what's the meaning of taqwa now? We have different translations and different even explanation in Arabic. So plenty of definitions of taqwa. My preferred one, to be honest, among all these definitions, we have, of course, the linguistic definition and the technical definition. The linguistic definition, the word taqwa is from waqa, yaqi. It means to protect something or to preserve something. Waqahu, to preserve it or to protect it in Arabic. So taqwa derives from that root, waqaya, yes, waqa yaqi. So to protect yourself against Allah's anger, against what displeases Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then you will be a person of taqwa. The English translation, it says righteousness or God conscious or piety or these kind of things, which is not very accurate, to be honest. This is why I prefer to keep the Arabic term and then explain it, because there's no one word in English equivalent to taqwa. The common definition, which I came across from top scholars and from our teachers as well, it's فعل المأمورات وترك المنهيات. The definition, technical definition of taqwa is doing the obligations and refraining from prohibitions. This is the definition of taqwa. So a person of taqwa is the one who's doing the obligations, number one, the one who's refraining from prohibitions, number two. Can we replace this long sentence with one word? Yes, we can. It can be the person of obedience. So the one who's doing obligations, refraining from prohibitions, is not a rebellion person. He's a person of obedience. So the obedient person is the person of taqwa, to summarize the meaning of taqwa for us. And there are actually different levels of taqwa. The first level of taqwa, as the scholars mentioned, to protect your faculties from doing haram, i.e., your hand, not to pick anything haram in your hand, your eyes, not to look at anything haram with your eyes, your ears, not to listen to anything haram, and so on. So to protect your faculties from disobedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And level number two is to protect your heart, because again, I'm going with the definition of the linguistics, the protection. To protect your heart from bad thoughts. This is a higher level of taqwa. It's not just the faculties, the limbs which we have to be protected from haram, but as well the heart is the core of our body. As the Prophet ﷺ in the hadith said, ألا وإن في الجسد مضغة. Indeed, in the body there's a morsel of flesh. If it's whole, the body is whole. And if it's diseased, the body is diseased. Truly, it's the heart. So yes, the heart is the core of our body. So to protect the heart against bad ideas, against hatred, rancor, envy, all these classified as the diseases of the hearts. And level number three, to protect as well your actions from going into anything which is doubtful, being away from doubtful matters. Because the clear-cut halal haram, it's for everyone to recognize. But the doubtful matters, this is where taqwa kicks in. Unless you have taqwa, you won't refrain from it. So this is another level of taqwa. And the last level of taqwa, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the Qur'an, فَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ اتَّقُوا اللَّهَ حَقَّ تُقَاتِهِ. So fear Allah as He should be feared, or be mindful of Allah as He should be mindful of, subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is the level of ihsan. The level of ihsan which has been mentioned in the hadith, the very famous hadith of Jibreel, أن تعبد الله كأنك تراه. When he came to the Prophet ﷺ and he asked him, Ya Muhammad, tell me about Islam, tell me about Iman, tell me about Ihsan, the very famous hadith. Then the last thing he asked about is Ihsan. Prophet ﷺ answered Jibreel by saying, Ihsan is to worship Allah as though you can see Him. And this is the highest level of taqwa. A description of people of taqwa. How do we know that we fit the description? How do we measure ourselves against this list of description, if you want? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the first page of the Qur'an after the Fatiha, in Surah Al-Baqarah. When we open Surah Al-Baqarah, in the very first page, Allah Azza wa Jal mentioned the description of Al-Muttaqeen, the people of taqwa. And when he said, ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ هُدًى لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. And then he goes on to describe and explain who are those al-muttaqeen, to define the characteristics of al-muttaqeen. And he mentioned 6 characteristics, subhanahu wa ta'ala. So let's go through them very quickly. He said, subhanahu wa ta'ala, الَّذِينَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِالْغَيْبِ. So the guidance for al-muttaqeen, those who believe in the unseen. This is number 1. So people of taqwa, they do believe in the unseen. Al-ghayb, which is the hereafter and the unseen. And number 2, وَيُقِيمُونَ الصَّلَاةِ. They do perform their prayers. This is the core of taqwa, if you want. Have bondship with Allah, connection with Allah Azza wa Jal is through the salah. Especially in Ramadan, we have to boost our connection with Allah Azza wa Jal, and the highest form of ibadah, nothing equivalent to salah. Salah is the highest form of ibadah. So we have to have a quality salah, not a tick-the-box exercise salah, or the autopilot salah, which we might have sometimes before Ramadan or even sometimes in Ramadan. So we need to boost the quality of our salah, and this is the right time now, inshallah ta'ala, to get our salah right, because this is part and parcel of being a person of taqwa. وَيُقِيمُونَ الصَّلَاةَ. And the word Allah used here, yuqimun. He didn't say yusallun. And there's a difference between the two. Yes, of course. Yuqimin something and yusallun something else. So he could have said yusallun instead of yuqimun as-salah. But he used the word yuqimun as-salah. Sometimes it's been translated as performing salah or establishing the salah. But the Arabic is much deeper than that, to be honest. Iqama in Arabic, linguistically, just to give you a flavor. Linguistically, iqama, it means to straighten something. Aqama shay'a, to make it straight. Yes? So salah, Allah used the term yuqimuna with the salah to show us that the salah should make us straight. As we do iqama for things like the wood, which is sometimes bended wood, we straighten it. Salah should straighten our actions and our direction. Yuqimuna salat. This is number 2. Number 3, the criteria of the muttaqeen. وَمِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ يُنْفِقُونَ. From what we have offered to them, what we have given to them, they spend. It means they give their zakah, they give their charity. They are people of taqwa. So now it's the month of zakah and the fitra, zakatul fitri, and the obligatory zakah. Again, it's the month of taqwa. This is why Allah Azza wa Jal, in the opening verse of Ayatul Siyam, he mentioned, يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون. So he finished the ayah by saying that you may achieve or perform taqwa when you fast. So you fast, he linked siyam with taqwa, subhanahu wa ta'ala. And in fact, this is the common denominator between all the forms of worship. Salah, siyam, hajj, and zakah, all of it achieving the taqwa in our life. وَمِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ يُنْفِقُونَ. So if I'm easily spending from what Allah has given to me, then this is an indication that, alhamdulillah, I'm a person of taqwa. If you do find yourself hesitant, not very sure, I'm struggling to pay my zakah or to be charitable, then we need to work on ourselves more, because we have some lack of taqwa, lack of obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in that direction. And then Allah Azza wa Jal says, وَالَّذِينَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِمَا أُنزِلَ إِلَيْكَ. And those who believe in what has been revealed to you. This is number 4. وَمَا أُنزِلَ مِن قَبْلِكَ. 5. And what has been revealed before you. So we believe in our book, we believe in the previous books as well. This is part and parcel of taqwa. وَبِالْآخِرَةِ هُمْ يُوقِنُونَ. And they do believe in the hereafter. This is number 6. So these are the 6 criteria, main criteria of people of taqwa. And Allah Azza wa Jal wants us to recognize that if we want to be people of taqwa, then we have to recognize these criteria and follow, and be on that path, inshallah ta'ala. What are the fruits of taqwa? We have many verses in the Qur'an about taqwa, yes. Allah defined what is the criteria, what are the criteria of people of taqwa. Okay. What are the fruits of taqwa? Beautiful verses in the Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in Surah Al-Nahl, Inna Allaha ma'al ladhina taqaw. Allah is with those who are practicing taqwa. It's a beautiful verse. And of course, we have very limited time. The ma'iyya here, that he's with. It's of course a metaphor, but it means he is supportive, he is protecting, and he is inspiring, and he is always with us, subhanahu wa ta'ala, in that form. And the second ayah in the Quran as well about the fruits of taqwa, Wallahu waliyul muttaqeen. He is your protector if you are a person of taqwa, in Surah Al-Jathiyah. And as well, this is my favorite one, إن الله يحب المتقين. Allah loves people of taqwa. So if you want to be loved by Allah, then practice taqwa. Who doesn't want to be loved by Allah Azza wa Jal? So إن الله يحب المتقين. Allah loves المتقين. And in another ayah, Allah says, subhanahu wa ta'ala, إن تتقوا الله يجعل لكم فرقانا. When you practice taqwa, Allah will give you a criterion how to distinguish between what is right and what is wrong. And only people of taqwa will have this criterion. In another verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned, وَمَن يَتَّقِ اللَّهَ يَجْعَل لَهُ مَخْرَجًا. And whoever practice taqwa, Allah will find an exit for him from his difficulty. And we have now the difficulties which we are facing. So we need to boost our taqwa more in order to get an exit from this pandemic, inshaAllah ta'ala. And then he said, وَمَن يَتَّقِ اللَّهَ يَجْعَل لَهُ مِنْ أَمْرِهِ يُسْرًا. And whoever practice taqwa, Allah will ease his affairs. He'll give him ease. So if you want ease to come through, then practice taqwa. Allah will give you ease, inshaAllah ta'ala. And then acceptance is related to taqwa as well. إِنَّمَا يَتَقَبَّلُ اللَّهُ مِنَ الْمُتَّقِينَ. Allah will accept only from those who are with taqwa. And here it's about ikhlas. The meaning of taqwa here, it's about sincerity. So those who are people of taqwa have sincerity. And Allah Azza wa Jal says about people of taqwa as well, وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ لَعَلَّكُمْ تُفْلِحُونَ. If you want success, then have taqwa. You will get into success in the dunya and in the akhirah, inshaAllah ta'ala. إِنَّ لِلْمُتَّقِينَ عِنْدَ رَبِّهِ جَنَّاتِ النَّعِيمِ. So for those who are practicing taqwa, عند ربهم, they will have جنات النعيم. Jannah will be for people of taqwa. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make all of us from people of Jannah and people of taqwa. The last thing which I will finish with, inshallah ta'ala, how do I achieve taqwa in my life? Number one, practical tips. We have to fear Allah Azza wa Jal, but not the fear which prevents us from doing stuff and things. Fear mixed with love of Allah Azza wa Jal, with glorification of Allah, ta'zeem of Allah Azza wa Jal, and hub of Allah Azza wa Jal. So we have to create this balance, hope and fear together in order to get it right. We have to avoid, number two, doubtful matters. This is the feature of people of taqwa. We have to do the obligations and refrain from prohibitions. And we need to do continuous accountancy to ourselves. Check our records, check what we have done today, and keep an eye on your actions, on your words, on your shortcomings, and so on and so forth. And the last thing, of course, short list, we can go beyond this, but short list, a good character. People of taqwa, they have good character. So we need to work on our good character. I know we have plenty of flaws in our character, but this is the right time to change our habits. The scientific research says in order to establish a new habit, you need between 21 days to 30 days or so. So Ramadan is spot on, 30 days. We can get rid of bad habits and establish good habits, inshallah ta'ala. And this will help, inshallah, to boost our taqwa and be closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And do our best to, as well, judge with fairness and be just in our judgment. This is as well the feature of people of taqwa. So I ask Allah Azza wa Jal to enable all of us to be among people of taqwa, those whom he loves, and those who are close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and to be as well in this very month closer and closer to Him and work on our character and be better people, inshallah ta'ala. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.